Hey guys, and welcome back to the A&J Soccer Show. As always, this is me, Jalen Thompson, and to my left we have
Andrew Pipers.
And we have a great show for you guys today. We're going to start with some drama surrounding the world's most expensive player, Neymar. Then we're going to head into some Champions League, touch on a bit of La Liga.
Then we're going to hit you with some Premier League action, go into the Bundesliga. Then we're going to want to talk about the U17 World Cup result. But first, this Neymar story, what do you think about it? A lot going on.
Very interesting. It's a lot of drama. Just from starting from back when he and Cavani got into it about who should take penalties. Ever since then, I had a feeling that he was going to have a bit of an interesting time at PSG, just because he's been so used to playing with Messi and Suarez. But I saw this article about this guy having some special privileges on the team. He has his own sponsor that he can wear around on his bag and stuff. Everyone else has to wear a PSG backpack. He is exempt from defensive duties, which I think is very interesting. I don't see any type of manager allowing a player not to play defense, but I guess that's just the case for him. And he also, I think guys aren't allowed to go in hard on him and practice with tackles and stuff. I don't think they're allowed to get in on him. So I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I read that same article, and that's just I think of the word drama queen. When I saw that Neymar Cavani incident, if you don't know what we're talking about, basically Cavani and Neymar were arguing over a penalty, and Cavani ended up taking it and missing, but there was just a lot of drama back and forth. Neymar comes into PSG and he wants to be the guy, makes sense, 222 million euro player.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's up there. But and then there was another thing with Dani Alves, his countryman, coming over and taking the ball away from Cavani for a free kick, and Cavani looked really upset about it. And lots of drama. Trouble in paradise, perhaps.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens with it. I know you and I were just talking about this. Neymar went to Barcelona on Sunday.
Yeah.
Posted a picture with his old boys Messi and Suarez. After I see that picture, I see an article saying Neymar regrets leaving Barcelona. He doesn't like the PSG manager Unai Emery. He likes his Brazilian friends, but it's not loving life in Paris compared to Barcelona. But
Yeah.
you can't be happy about that if you're a PSG fan.
Yeah, I heard it's also a family issue. I think their family is having a hard time adjusting to Paris, in comparison to where they were staying in Barcelona. So I think that's a big thing that I guess we don't really think about a lot of the times. We always think about the player, but obviously they have families that they bring with them, and we always think of Neymar as this young soccer player, but he's got kids and stuff. So it's kind of weird to think about that side of the game.
Yeah, the family aspect is there for sure, but as a player, you probably, I don't know if you've been in a situation where there's some guy in training, he's better than everyone else. Have you ever been in a situation where there's preferential treatment like that?
I don't know. I feel in the youth game, the coaches try not to have favorites, but I think at the end of the day, sometimes it comes down to that. Whether I remember back in the days of playing in U8 or U9, there's the coach's son that might get he might get a bit of preferential treatment. But other than that, when you look at the college game and stuff like that, then it's less obvious than what you see at the youth ages. But I think telling someone you can't go hard on them in training and allowing, say they have a sponsor for the team and allowing them to do their own thing, I think that's just unreasonably gifted. Granted, I think you look at it, he is the most expensive player in the world, so there's going to be some type of benefit to that. They're gonna give some leeway to him, but I think to the extent of not having to play defense in the game is a bit excessive.
Yeah, you as well as anyone knows, you have to play both sides of the ball. But it's just crazy to see that. It's almost like he is more than the team, and that should never happen in any sport. It doesn't matter who you are. I would even say, Messi is not bigger than Barcelona. People say Messi is Barcelona, but I would say there's nothing bigger than the team, and it seems like Neymar is being put as bigger than the team right now, which could lead to some more problems down the road.
And he got a red card. I think it was, last week? He...
Did he headbutt someone?
To be fair, looking back at the video, I thought it was the guy, he really sold it to the referee when he tripped up Neymar after the whistle was even blown. So that was the first problem, and he did get a yellow card for it. But then Neymar puts his face in his face, and the guy just flails himself to the ground. And I think the acting job was an A+ because it got Neymar a red card, and I don't think I would have given him a red card, but it happens, and so he misses he missed the game on Friday. I think they played Nice and they won 3-0. His sort of, I guess, enemy on the team, if you want to go that, Cavani scores a game-winning free kick.
Ooh.
So that'll cause some
More
tension
drama.
between the two for sure. But they've got a Champions League game that he'll be able to play on starting tomorrow against Anderlecht. So should be interesting on how that works out with the two of them back in the squad together.
Yeah, and I guess that's a game that PSG you'd expect to comfortably win, but looking ahead to the Champions League, looks like we've got some other really interesting games. It's basically the same ones that we talked about 2 weeks ago, just the location is flipped. So City's going to Napoli, and expect a similar type of game we saw the first time, just lots of attacking football, and hopefully City can pull out the result, but it's going to be really hard to go to Napoli, who actually, they're unbeaten in Serie A. They're sitting at the number 1 position, 3 points ahead of Juventus, who've won the league like 6 times like in a row up to this. So Napoli is a threat. I don't know, just looking ahead to that game in particular, you just hope that City can just keep up what they've been doing.
Yeah, exactly, especially because they probably have a good chance of clinching the round 16 with one. I know if PSG beats Anderlecht, they definitely clinch round 16. I'm not sure if City yet, but I think it would really make a statement to be the first English side to qualify for the round 16. I think that would really make an impression on all the English teams, even though it's not like a Premier League game. But always a time to send messages out there.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see once we get to the latter rounds of this competition. Seeing the big boys. PSG, Man City. Some others. I mean, Real Madrid's up there, and Real Madrid are actually up against Spurs again. This time, I believe it's at Wembley at Tottenham, because the last one was at the Bernabeu.
The Bernabeu, yeah.
And that was a draw the last one, so Madrid, you want to go and get a good win at Spurs. I'm not sure if Harry Kane will be back for that, but that'll be a factor for sure.
I think he's having some hamstring issues. But fun fact, all the English teams are top of their groups right now. Tottenham ahead of Madrid and Dortmund. We got City above Shakhtar and Napoli. Liverpool in their group over Spartak Moscow, Sevilla, and then Chelsea over Roma and Atletico, along with Man U in their soft group of Basel and Moscow. But that's just cool to see the English teams doing really well in the Champions League. See if they can continue that into the knockout rounds, but who knows?
No, it's a good find. I didn't even realize that. That's because we were talking a couple weeks ago about English teams doing better, and according to that, they're doing really well. So that's good to see for sure.
But you did mention about how it is a big game for Madrid and Tottenham, just because I think Madrid just came off a loss domestically in La Liga, and I think that with Spurs also losing domestically, that Champions League setup is just like a time for you to take that momentum and hopefully carry it into your domestic leagues. But with Kane gone, like you said, with a hamstring injury, that's going to cause some issues for Spurs. And I think Real Madrid, being 2 times repeating champions, and they're in behind Barcelona right now in the table, so it's kind of like they need to reassert themselves domestically as well as in the European League.
Yeah, that's a great point. 8 points behind Barcelona, and that's scary to think about if you're a Madrid fan, because 8 points in La Liga is very, very hard to recover from. The first Clásico is December, around mid-December, and it's going to be at Real Madrid. And if you imagine if Barcelona goes to Madrid and beats Madrid, I mean, I have to think that the La Liga is over then, because that's like roughly a 4-game. That'd be like a 4-game gap roughly. And, Madrid would have to have a perfect season with Barcelona losing 4 games. And I can't see that happening. So Madrid have got themselves in a little bit of trouble. Like you said, this Tottenham game can hopefully, from a Madrid point of view, they can hopefully win that game, use it to propel themselves in the domestic league. But yeah, I mean, that's a bad loss to a newly promoted Girona FC. That's who Real Madrid lost to.
Okay, yeah.
And I mean, Zinedine Zidane hasn't been under any pressure as Real Madrid manager ever, because he's won 2 Champions League. He's done a fantastic job, but
just won Coach of the Year.
Just won Coach of the Year.
Those recent awards.
Yeah, good shout. And I don't know. Maybe if he continues to suffer domestically, and if worst case scenario he does bad in the Champions League, it's Real Madrid. They're gonna look at Florentino Perez, the president of Real Madrid, is gonna look at that and say that's unacceptable. So.
Yeah. And then, I mean, that's kind of like a different situation for Tottenham, who they've been having success in the Premier League that they don't normally, like, that's not, like, expected them, you know what I'm saying? They were in the top 4 last year finishing, and I think that's a huge step in terms of where they want to go under Pochettino. So it's going to be interesting to see how they're able to take this success in the Champions League and run with it. But I think they do need Kane back from injury.
Yeah.
I think that's just like a huge key with him. I think he was I had the most goals in the Premier League last year. I'm almost positive, and I think he's just a huge part to their team, and see if they can be able to bounce back from the loss against Man U this weekend. 1-0, Martial with the goal. Didn't look too excited after he scored. I'm not going to lie to you, but anyway, I know Dele Alli. Did you see Dele Alli and Ashley Young got into it a little bit?
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I think it was like just a little skirmish between two of the guys, and then Ashley Young and Dele Alli ran up on each other, and they were just like in each other's faces for a while. I heard something about Ashley Young saying like, "Talk to me when you've won a Premier League title." And that always get your blood racing. But yeah,
wow, getting feisty. I didn't see that. I mean, I saw most of the game, and it looked like United had a lot of the attacking moves in the game. Just shows how important Harry Kane is. Tottenham had maybe 2 or 3 or 4 good attacking moves. United's maybe 10, and you feel if Harry Kane's in the side, it's got to be like evened out because he's just so important. But yeah, so that was a really good result for United. Tottenham looking to use this Madrid game as a big momentum builder if they can do it.
Pretty unusual for us though, being City fans this weekend, to see our boys only win by a 1-goal difference. Yeah. What's up with that? West Brom
scores like never, and they score 2 on us. And I mean, that second goal from Otamendi, did you see that? He chested it
back to the keeper, and Matt Phillips just snuck in and was able to tap it in.
Yeah, that was painful to watch, and it honestly has me a little bit scared thinking back to last season, the strong start and then the defensive woes. I'm hoping that's not the case again this year. I've liked our defense up till now, but Otamendi had a pretty atrocious game, to be honest with you. And, you can't be conceding 2 goals to West Brom. And I promise you, West Brom scores like almost never. Like it's pretty bad. Yeah. So that's concerning. We have the high-powered offense to make up for that. But when we play the big boys, I'm not
can't have those excuses in the defense. But I mean, good signs. Taking it from the positive, just Leroy consistently getting on the score sheet. Always good to see young guys like that build confidence so that we can have more success in the future. And big talk of Sterling, who has been getting on the score sheet lately. Seems like he's in pretty good form. He's got put on the bench to start the game, so he didn't start.
Yeah.
Aguero neither.
Yeah.
And comes on and scores the game winner. So
Love to see that. I mean, his finishing has been suspect, but he's I think he's City's leading goal scorer right now. I think I read that today.
Really?
So if that's wrong, it's wrong. But I'm almost positive that he is City's leading goal scorer. And it's interesting to think there was talks in the summer about swapping him for Alexis Sanchez. And if you look at what Sanchez has done for Arsenal, he's a great player, but he hasn't really done much this year.
Right.
And Sterling's won us the game at Bournemouth in the beginning of the year. That was a real springboard for the entire season. And he scored a crucial goal. I guess he scored the winner in this West Brom game. So I'm definitely back on Sterling's side for sure.
And then you get Fernandinho with another long shot. This one not as pretty as the last one against Stoke,
Yeah.
but I mean, we'll take it. A goal's a goal. But it's cool to see that your defensive mid's contributing like that to the attacking side, when really Fernandinho is just expected to put in the hard tackles and organize the midfield with De Bruyne in front of him. But yeah, I mean, I was glad just to see City come out with the W, just because that's what keeps us going. I think we're still undefeated, so that's always a positive.
Yeah, you're right. And I mean, it's a big result from City, and we're going to need another big result this weekend because we're going up against Arsenal, big game this weekend. That's the Sunday morning at 9:15, and then Chelsea United right after that at 12:30. So that's
a huge game.
Yeah. So I mean, block off your Sundays to watch some good soccer, Premier League soccer, because that's going to be a lot of fun. City Arsenal, you expect City to win that, but Arsenal, they just came off a win at Swansea, I believe. So they could be feeling confident, and then getting into that Chelsea United game. Mourinho versus his old club.
Always a big one.
Yeah, always fun to watch. But I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of good soccer that you're going to want to watch on Sunday morning. So definitely get up for that.
Yeah, and I'm not sure when Kane is expected to return, but Tottenham face Crystal Palace this Sunday, so not necessarily the toughest of opponents, but as Crystal Palace showed against Chelsea, they're always up to upset somebody.
They are. And also, I don't know if you saw, they were playing West Ham this weekend, and West Ham's woes continue.
Yes.
Because Zaha with the 90-something minute winner.
It was 96. It was the 96-minute winner of 90. It was like plus 6 minute added time. So it was
Really?
like as the seconds were counting over into the 6 minute, he'd be the guy down the line, cut back in, and just place in the far post. It was really fun to watch the celebrations as well. That was the guy who was excited to score.
Oh yeah, unlike someone else, but but yeah, no, that's a huge result for Palace. They're finally getting something going. If you're a West Ham fan, I'm sorry. You gotta think about Slaven Bilic. Like, he could be on the hot seat. That's bad to lose to Crystal Palace in the 96th minute after basically what they did. They got up 2-0, I believe, and then just sat back the entire game, and that can't
Okay.
bite them. So you can't absorb pressure like that forever, I guess. But they're big game from them. But definitely want to get into another one of Europe's top leagues here, and I want to talk a little bit about the Bundesliga. Bayern Munich started off really poorly under Ancelotti. Then they sacked Ancelotti, and they brought in their old coach, Jupp Heynckes. I'm sorry for all the Bayern fans. I don't know how to say his last name, but he's the one who brought them the treble like 4 or 5 years ago, and their Bayern is top of the table right now. Level on points. It looks like they're ahead on points of Dortmund, their old rival. So Bundesliga kind of going back to normal after a little bit of a scare in the beginning, or not a scare for Bayern, but a little bit of a shakeup. I don't know if you have any thoughts on the Bundesliga. It's not really covered that much.
Yeah. I don't get to watch it too often. I try to keep up a bit with Dortmund just because of Christian Pulisic. I always want to see how the young Americans doing. But Leipzig is a club that has really surprised me in the past couple of years. They were up there challenging for the title last year, and now they're in third place this year. And it seems like they're trying to make themselves solidify themselves as a top 4 team in the Bundesliga. Yeah. So that's very impressive. They have the likes of Forsberg and Werner and Poulsen as their attack. So, I mean, that's a pretty dangerous front three that I think that could cause a lot of problems. I mean, they're also in the Champions League. So it looks like, Bayern and Dortmund have another team they got to watch out for.
I mean, it's going to make the Bundesliga more interesting, which is what we need for sure. If that means for the title race or for second place at least, watching Bayern is getting kind of tiring if you're not a Bayern fan. But they are back on track with their old coach, and they're definitely. I think they're going to win again. Hopefully, if you're a Bayern fan, they do well in the Champions League. My cousins actually live in Munich, and they're big Bayern fans, so
Really?
They were pretty disappointed in the performance of Bayern, but now I think they'll be happy again. So and then I guess the last thing we want to talk about, U17 World Cup, England gets the win. Do you have any just like initial reactions to that?
First thing that shout out to me was shout out Phil Foden.
Let's go, baby.
City player.
Let's
right
go.
there, looking very, very promising. He got some time in the International Champions Cup under Pep, and I think Pep is taking a liking to him. I know another young player, Sancho, he's a pretty good talent, and he was sent off to Dortmund. I think Pep just really wasn't looking to break him into the first team too much, and I think that really disappointed him. So I think they sent him off to Dortmund and to get a bit more experience. But Phil Foden, he scored twice in the final. England ended up beating Spain 5-2. So pretty good looks for the English national team in their future, especially because the English fans have been very disappointed in their team's results in their previous World Cup, so they're always putting a lot of pressure on their national team. So I think this will give them a bit of hope for what comes in the near future.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, Phil Foden, what a talent! I'm very glad he's a City player. I saw him play a little bit in the International Champions Cup, as you were saying, and he looks like a truly good player. Hopefully, Pep can recognize that and put him in. I think there'll be some if we're still in this League Cup. Maybe that's some time for some youth players to play, and he can get some playing time. Phil Foden had a really good tournament. I mean, he was the best player in the tournament. He won the Golden Ball.
Yeah.
So, U17 World Cup winners, and definitely to your point about England, they'll be very happy with what they've seen from their youth talent for sure.
Yeah, I think Pep will have a hard time fitting Foden in the first team, just because when you have Aguero and Sterling on your bench, how is a kid like Phil Foden supposed to break in there and play over some of those big name guys? You know what I'm saying? So I think it's promising for the future of City. I think if we can raise a homegrown player like that, that'd be really awesome. But the kid's got plenty of time, so there's no need to rush him into the first team.
Yeah, and it's a funny story about the guy. I was reading an article this morning about him, and allegedly he was just he wasn't really in a youth academy. He just kind of played for fun, and then randomly a scout was walking his dog or something and saw him playing for City and was like, I need that kid, and that's all she wrote. So that's a fun story to see, and yeah, I agree with you. It'll be hard for Pep to fit him in now, but looking ahead to the future's bright if he stays with us. Yeah, and definitely just want to ask you a little bit about the Davidson soccer season. Pretty sure, how many more games do you guys have?
We have one last regular season game this Wednesday at 7 o'clock against LaSalle. It's senior night, so come out and support the senior boys. They definitely deserve it after all the hard work they put in the last 4 years. So, yeah, definitely come out and support. I think it's free Chick-fil-A for the first 200 people to come out. And so if you want your free Chick-fil-A, why not enjoy some soccer with it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, for sure. I mean, yeah, so you've been listening to the A&J Soccer Show. I'm Andrew Pipers.
Jalen Thompson.
Appreciate it. See ya.
Catch a wave on us. Take a shot, make a friend, just enjoy the moment. I'm Luke Sky walking on these haters. Celebrate every day like a bird.